next up is Magnus Bergmark, who's an entrepreneur turned you've gone agency. He's now working as a director in Doberman, and he's going to talk about his client LF, which is the biggest Swedish insurance group. And whereas Catherine and Alexander's case study was, revolved really around hands-on approach for, near-term solutions, Magnus is going to talk about, down-to-earth projects as well as spanning to the conceptual, futuristic stuff. So, Magnus, go ahead. You're up.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. How are you? Good, thank you. I'm going to talk a bit about this case and a client that I've been working very much with, Länsförsäkringar. Let's call them LF. That's not so Swedish for you. I come from Doberman. We're a customer experience design firm. We're based in Stockholm originally and now also in New York. And we have a think tank here in Berlin. And we love this conference. So it's great to be here. And I'm going to talk to you about how we helped Länsförsäkringar, or LF, to really sort of understand themselves through the eyes of their customers and to understand how they could deliver way more valuable services for their customers. Before I got here, naturally, I was a bit nervous. And you saw me standing there in front of the mirror, trying out clothes. And that's a very common and human thing to do. You get anxious about what you look like and how you will appear through your eyes. But it's a stupid thing to focus on, because now you've seen me. So now you could all go. So it's not about that. It's about what I have to offer, sort of my experience and my knowledge and what I can tell you, and if we get to work together, what I could bring to the table. And that's very much what we try to help out Länsförsäkringar to do as well. They're the largest property insurance company in Sweden. They also offer bank services and life insurance services. It's a very complex and big offer they can offer the market. They're actually owned by the customers, which is a very interesting thing in the sort of business model. But they are organized like 24 companies, basically, with 24 CEOs in this big syndicate of organizations. So we understood very early on that it's going to be very hard to achieve alignment and anchoring within this organization. So when we set out to design these new sort of customer experiences and the customer journeys we were going to deliver, we realized we really, really had to focus on the inside first, how to help them design a culture that would help them innovate and realize the services they wanted to deliver to their clients. This case is pretty much about sort of helping them to design a culture to design those brilliant services. And I'm going to take you through sort of 5 steps or learnings from this process, and some tips you can hopefully take away. And the first one is to make sure to have fun when you're doing it. Because change is really hard, and you will have a lot of stakeholders being really worried about cannibalizing the core business in your new innovative sort of business models. And if you make people have fun, they forget that they're doing hard work. It's like dancing on a party. You end up all sweaty and it's all fun, and it's a totally different thing from sort of standing in a gym on a stair machine, and you'll get tired so much faster because it's boring. So make people have fun. And the first assignment we had for this group was to redesign the start pages of their website. It's a rather small and very obvious scope and assignment. And what we started off by doing and helped them doing is to initially, of course, make sure to understand who are we designing it for. So we took them out on interviews, we sat down with people, and we really sort of also naturally looked at the data and the statistics and understood, why do people use your website? Why do they even come there? And what do they want? What do they want from, what are their sort of feelings about you, and what do they need? And we started working in a co-creation process where they very much were the designers as much as us, to really be a part of this design group, and we had a lot of fun, and we really sort of find the keys on how to deliver a new brilliant website, and they were so inspired. They were like, "Oh, we should all work like this. This is so much fun. This is great." So people within the organization started sort of noticing that, and it's like, "What are you guys doing? You're going home to our clients? Okay, interesting." But then there's another sort of very important aspect of this, is that you also naturally have to show quick results. And one of the key takeaways from really understanding the clients that were visiting or using the digital services is that it wasn't relevant to look at them from sort of demographic bucket perspective, but rather than to look at the drivers and needs they had when using those digital services. And what was also important is that these are not sort of different people that stay that way. You could easily sort of recognize yourselves in one of these from time to time. You can be 3 at one point. Sort of, I'm looking for quick information. I also really need to try to understand this, and after that, I'll log in. And these will vary over time. But it's very much sort of the basic agenda for this whole project was just give them the services they came for first, and when they love you, then you can probably have upsells and start sort of offering something else, right? It's pretty easy mechanisms. So we did the redesign of the start pages, and those were launched a year and a half ago, and they really delivered quick results. The sales in car insurance really sort of increased like 20% in 2 months, and that was strong. But what about the sort of the customer experience part? How do people perceive the website? We just designed new start pages. So we were like, have you gotten the results from those sort of customer surveys yet? And they were like, no, yeah, sure, but yeah, no, we have them, but we have to double check because something went wrong. Oh, no, why? But it turned out that, no, it didn't. It was just an increase in customer satisfaction on all areas. People really loved the new site. So they won a sort of best improver of the year from the sort of customer, sorry, let me get that organization right. It's Swedish Web Service Awards that do these sort of independent surveys. And then naturally the rest of the organization, who's already seen those guys doing fun stuff, understood that we should all work like this. This is very impressive results. So then we got the assignment to back out and do a sort of channel-independent analysis and initiate the program of customer-centered service innovation throughout the whole sort of all business areas and all touch points. And then we really needed them to gain empathy for the people they were designing for. So we really needed them to eat and breathe insights and to really understand how they needed to sort of deliver these new services in a way that people would really love them. So then we made this extensive mapping of customer needs. We were visiting people in their homes, we were visiting small business owners, we were visiting farmers, and we were really mapping out the current situation, what people needed and how they went about sorting their life when it came to financial solutions or insurances, and how they themselves created small systems to handle this complex world of managing your everyday life. And we mapped out all of these customer journeys, and we found out sort of what were the highs, what were the lows, what were the problems, and we basically put up a very clear mirror to Länsförsäkringar. We helped them see through their customers' eyes what kind of services they were really delivering. And naturally, as all companies, they were very aware of the problems that were already there, sort of the things they could already do better. But I think the feeling that really, really struck them then was that, oh, we are not doing this right at all. This is so hard. And one thing about them also is that they're very old. They have a rural heritage. So they feel sometimes maybe a bit more like the cousin from the countryside, more than this sort of fast-moving, cool bank from the capital. So we're not in the game. How could we possibly deliver the best services on the market? And then it's very important to help them go into finding the core qualities of what they really, really can do well and really can deliver. So that's the fourth area, is to really find empowerment and finding the core qualities. And what we reminded them of, that they already knew, was that the clients really love them when they meet them. Out there on all of these small branches and all of these offices, people have relationships with some of these people that is handed down through generations. It's like, my son, you're taking over the farm, and here's Gösta, who's your insurance man, and he knows our business. It's like we heard stories from farmers that one of them had his entire pig farm burnt down because his grandchildren were playing with matches in the barn. And he told us, naturally, and this is his whole life, burning to the ground. And he told us that the way LF handled that, the way they approached him and understood him and saw him and helped him with all of this damage, made him feel so strongly about them and really trust them. And he said they could double my fees. I would never leave them. So we helped them to turn in this to sort of the new value proposition. This is, if we can mimic what you deliver in these meetings as good as possible and all other touch points, if we can deliver the expertise you give people, the possibility for people to simulate the sort of what if, can I afford to renovate my house? Would it be possible for me to expand my business? Can you help me with sort of doing that? We need to hand them the self-service tools to find those out themselves, and also control, overview these systems of different boxes of papers and management. Can we hand them tools to make this easier to handle control? So this is pretty much the whole value proposition of the new services. And then they were sort of really inspired again. It's like, oh, we know this. Okay, well, of course we know how to deliver the services to our customers. We know our customers. So we started, again, co-creating, looking at all of the customer journeys, and we started creating these stories of the future. What should we deliver in the future? And what's important is also that we involved experts and business owners from the entire organization in sort of creating these stories. They wrote them, basically. And that also made sure that we had technical feasibility and legal feasibility. They know we didn't invent any flying cars, because they know what's sort of the regulations around all of their business. So it was very real. And also a very good tool for anchoring. And again, having very many people feeling that they're co-designing this new service solutions. And of course, we started exploring sort of the key functionality of the UX of all of the new digital touch points. And they started feeling like, this is great. We look brilliant. Now we're digging through the core of our values. And basically that's also the core of your brand promise. So they wanted to start putting these clothes on everything. That's an effect you get, right? When all of that was done, it's very important to bring this strategy alive, to not leave it there as a report or as a sort of two-dimensional diagram or structure, but we really packaged this strategy and designed these scenarios and told these stories in a way that they could take internally and show the entire group of people and really tell them these new stories. Like, for instance, a person that wants to find, buy, and use, claim car insurance only in their smartphone. No other touch points, because that's what this kind of user would really sort of love and benefit from. And we do really high-res scenarios of this, and also naturally to design for the physical meetings. How can they save time from these self-service solutions and tools? And as Dean pointed out, there's a business case in all of these, sort of how much time can we save for our experts? How much less customer center calls can we get? How can we get more efficient meetings and less sort of avoid those that happens all the time? People come back 4 times because they forgot a paper, or I needed data for a meeting I didn't have. How can we prepare them better for a meeting? How can we have an efficient meeting? How can we know what colleague to bring along in the meeting? Because many times it starts off, maybe you might want a loan for your house, but you realize also along the way that they should also talk to someone about life insurance. how can we make sure to have a life insurance expert to go along in the meeting so we don't have to have 2 meetings with them? There's a lot of sort of efficiency built into this. There's a lot of smart thinking behind the scenes, but we have always focused on how to deliver this from a customer experience perspective, because that's what really sort of stands out. And we've looked at very many different touch points and tools and services, and we've actually also designed user flows for their sort of phone-based customer service center. What would that sort of look like? Okay, the office is closed, you're directed to the central customer center service. How can they turn this into solving the problem and have an upsell and book a meeting for another person who can meet with them afterwards? Simple stuff in a way, but it's very, very powerful to package it like this and it gets very tangible. So now, since almost a year back, we're sort of in trying to delivering on this together with them. We're in the early stages of implementation. It's very much a strong pull from the entire organization around this because they were all participating in creating it, and they really feel strongly about this, and they believe deeply in it. It's very close to their core, and they just want to get it out there. So that's what we're doing right now. So to be continued in a way. So these are the 5 most important points. Sort of, first of all, make sure to have fun. Make everybody forget that they're making hard decisions. Find ways of delivering results. Cut it down to cupcakes. Don't go for the big wedding cake from the beginning. And sort of make sure that you always test it on consumers. You ask the consumers. When in doubt, go back and hang out again with your clients and your customers. And you will find the answer there, basically. Is this even relevant, what we're inventing right now? And to empower the organization, bring everyone in, make everybody feel that they're designers and they have something to contribute with. And last of all, sort of course, bring the strategy to life. Design it brilliantly. You can't stay with the schematics and the numbers. You also have to have the sort of the organization feel what it will feel for the customers when we deliver this new service. I made it in time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Magnus. Thank you, Magnus.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to play a little bit Punktlichkeitmeisterin. I don't know if that's an actual German word, but we have time for one question.
I have already the microphones.
All yours.
Just one question. You're talking a lot about, or everyone's talking a lot about analysis, improvements, and ask people. Where are those little crazy ideas, or those meant to be the only ones that are good?
Sorry, where are the...
Do you have space for crazy ideas when you do this, working together in company and agency? Is there space for being crazy?
Absolutely.
There is.
And that's a very important part of the having fun and coming together, building a team where you're all team members and that you're all sort of, you have stakes in being designers. And you start sort of really, because it's very easy to come up with ideas as long as you understand the problem you're solving. And then you can have crazy ideas also because your team is, so it's like you're all dancing in front of the mirror. And if someone saw you, you'd instantly stop and be very sort of ashamed about that they just saw you, but just make them forget because we're all dancing together. So yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Magnus, once again. Now.